A lot of those schools are now getting much more fiercely competitive, right? So, I mean, like I said, it seems like just a few years ago, schools like Boston University, NYU were considered for top students more like a backup school. That's not even the case anymore. There are cases of straight A students with really high test scores who are getting rejected from places like USC, NYU, and Boston University. It's not uncommon if you have a child who's in 7th or 8th grade right now for these Ivy League schools to have their acceptance rate all under 6%, right? In fact, the top ones like Harvard and Yale probably down to maybe like 3%. Another thing, of course, that we're awaiting, which I don't necessarily have here in the presentation, but there's also the Supreme Court ruling that I guess should be out by June, which could potentially strike down affirmative action. That could potentially increase the acceptance rates of Asian students in particular, because a lot of basically the plaintiffs in both cases do include Asian American advocacy groups, right? So that remains to be seen how it's going to impact it. But if California was any indication in the 90s, that saw an increase in the number of Asian applicants who got into the UCs. So today the UCs are basically race neutral, right? And so if these cases were to follow the same suit, we could very well see, a similar increase in the percentages of Asian students accepted into these top schools. The top students more or less still have similar credentials, which means if you do your best, or you're a straight A student, you have very good test scores, and you have activities that make you stand out, you still have an incredibly good shot to get into a top school. It's not the case. And you have a great plan in terms of what you're going to be doing in middle school and high school, you should still be very competitive in terms of the colleges that you get into. Okay. One of the key things now, though, is that because a lot of other people, potentially your competition, are also preparing because of the hype, because of the, I guess, all the attention being put on these acceptance rates, more and more people are planning ahead. So it makes sense for you to go ahead and even consider as early as now, as a middle schooler, what kinds of things you can do to go ahead and, be more successful, to be more competitive by the time you get into high school. You really want to build that work ethic, that culture of success that you need in order to be able to be successful by the time you get to high school. Okay, so bottom line, don't let these numbers scare you.